You've been kind to someone, patient, considerate. You've gone out of your way more times than you can count, and somehow they treat you like background noise. Meanwhile, someone who barely tries, people chase them, respect them, remember them. That's not a coincidence. And it's not about being mean. It's about something much deeper, and by the end of this, you're going to see people very differently. Let me paint a picture you've probably lived through. There's someone in your life, maybe a friend, a coworker, someone you were interested in romantically, and you were genuinely good to them. You checked on them. You made time. You were flexible, accommodating, understanding, and at first, it felt right, because that's what good people do, right? But then something started to shift. You noticed they'd cancel on you without much explanation. They'd go days without responding, but they were active online. When you were together, they were present, but just barely, like you were there, but not really there for them. So you tried harder. You became more available, more understanding. You gave them the benefit of the doubt over and over again. And the more you gave, the less they seemed to value it. Here's what's strange. You probably have someone in your life who's the opposite. Someone who doesn't bend over backwards for anyone. Someone who says no without guilt. Who doesn't text back immediately. Who has their own world, and people are constantly trying to get into it. You've seen it. That person gets pursued, gets respected, gets remembered, and part of you hates that because it feels unfair. You're doing everything right and getting nothing. They're doing almost nothing and getting everything. But here's the part most people miss. It's not about being cold. It's not about playing games. It's about something rooted deep in human psychology. And once you understand it, you can't unsee it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Kindness, on its own, does not create respect. Read that again. Because most people grow up believing the opposite. We're told be good to people, and they'll be good to you. Treat people well, and they'll treat you well. Be the bigger person. And in a perfect world? That's true. But humans don't operate in a perfect world. We operate on perception, on signals, on subconscious reads that happen in seconds, without logic, without fairness. And when you are endlessly available, endlessly agreeable, endlessly accommodating, the signal you send is not, I'm a great person. The signal you send is, I have no other options. And once someone even subconsciously believes you have no other options, something switches in how they see you. You stop being someone they want to keep. You become someone they assume will always be there. That's not cruelty. That's just how the human brain processes value. We want what requires some effort to have. We protect what we feel could be lost. And we take for granted what we believe is permanent. So the more certain someone is of you, the less they think about keeping you. There's a term in psychology called perceived value. And it's brutally simple. Value isn't determined by what you actually offer. It's determined by how people perceive what you offer. Think about water. You're sitting in your house right now. Water has almost no perceived value to you. It's everywhere. It's easy. It's guaranteed. Put yourself in a desert. Suddenly, water is everything. Nothing about the water changed. The scarcity changed. Now apply that to people. When you make yourself completely available, no boundaries, no limits, no moments where someone wonders, is he okay? I haven't heard from him. You become tap water. Present, reliable, and almost invisible. But when someone has to wonder about you occasionally, when they're not 100% sure where they stand, when you have a life that pulls your attention, you become something worth thinking about, worth noticing. This doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean being unavailable for the sake of it. It means having genuine value in your own life that naturally creates some distance, some presence that isn't just devoted to being there for everyone else. And here's where it gets worse for the too nice person. It's not just that people stop valuing you. It's that they start seeing you differently. And that shift affects everything. Your friendships, your career, your relationships. All of it. Let's get into exactly how that plays out. Number 1, the approval trap. When you're too nice, most of the time, you're not just being kind, you're seeking approval without realizing it. And people can feel that, even when they can't name it. There's a difference between being kind because you genuinely want to, and being kind because you need the other person to think well of you. One comes from security, the other comes from fear. Fear that if you say no, they'll pull away. Fear that if you're honest, they won't like you. Fear that your value to people is conditional on how much you give. When someone senses you need their approval, something changes in the dynamic. power shifts. Not because they're manipulative necessarily, but because human beings naturally feel less drawn to people who are trying too hard to be liked. Think about the last time someone was clearly trying too hard to impress you. Did it make you like them more? Or did it create a subtle discomfort, a slight pulling back? That's the approval trap. The moment you start performing kindness to be liked rather than choosing it freely, people sense the performance. And performances don't earn respect, they earn tolerance. The real lesson: kindness from security is attractive, kindness from fear is invisible. Number 2, what saying yes too much actually communicates. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're sending a message. And it's not the message you think. You think you're saying, "I care about you." What people actually hear again, subconsciously, is "my time isn't worth much. My comfort doesn't matter that much. You can push here." Over time, people don't consciously decide to disrespect you. They just adjust their behavior to match the limits you've shown them, or rather, the lack of limits. Here's a real example. Imagine someone at work who always covers for colleagues, always takes on extra tasks, never pushes back. At first, people appreciate it, but within months, they stop asking, they start assuming. That person becomes the default safety net. And when they finally say no once, people are shocked, almost offended, because you trained them on who you are, and no broke the pattern. That's not their fault entirely. It's the result of a dynamic that was built slowly, quietly, without anyone noticing. Every yes you didn't mean taught people something, and the lesson was, there are no real limits here. This is where it gets interesting, because the solution isn't to become difficult or withholding. It's something more specific than that. Takeaway: your boundaries don't just protect you, they communicate your value. Number 3, the invisible person problem. There's a specific kind of pain that comes with being too nice. And it's not just being taken for granted, it's something quieter, and honestly, more unsettling. It's becoming invisible. Not in a dramatic way. People don't suddenly stop seeing you. They just stop thinking about you. You become part of the furniture, present, functional, easy to overlook. And the strange thing is you're often the most reliable person in the room. The one people can count on, the one who shows up. And somehow, that is exactly what makes you forgettable. Here's why. The human brain is wired to pay attention to things that create some level of uncertainty. Not anxiety, just enough unpredictability to stay engaged. It's the same reason a story with no tension puts you to sleep, but a story with stakes keeps you leaning forward. When you're completely predictable, always available, always agreeable, always there, you remove all tension from the dynamic. And without any tension, the brain stops paying close attention. You become expected, and expected things fade into the background. Think about someone in your life who you genuinely wonder about sometimes. Someone whose mood you can't always read. Someone who has an interior world you don't have full access to. Someone who's warm with you, but also clearly has a life that doesn't revolve around you. You think about that person more, don't you? Not because they're playing games, but because there's something to think about. Some space that your mind naturally wants to fill. When you give people everything, no mystery, no distance, no life outside of them, you take away that space. And people stop reaching toward you, because there's nothing to reach for. The truth is, you don't need to be mysterious. You just need to be complete a person with your own world, not an extension of theirs. Number 4, why nice gets mistaken for weak. This one is going to sting a little, but it's important. A lot of people who are too nice, and I mean the kind that gets ignored, overlooked, and underestimated, aren't actually that nice. They're conflict avoidant. And there's a significant difference. Genuine kindness is a choice made from strength. It's warm, it's generous, and it has edges. It can say hard things when necessary. It can disagree. It can walk away. Conflict avoidance dressed up as kindness is different. It agrees to avoid friction. It goes along to avoid discomfort. It smiles when it wants to speak. It laughs off things that actually hurt. And people, again, without necessarily being able to explain it, can tell the difference. When someone is genuinely kind, you feel their warmth and their solidity. There's a groundedness there. You know where they stand. You trust that what they say, they mean. When someone is conflict avoidant, it creates an odd kind of unease, because somewhere in the back of your mind, you know they're not fully honest with you. Their niceness feels a little slippery. You can't quite get a grip on who they really are. And here's the brutal irony: the person trying hardest to be liked ends up being trusted the least. Because trust isn't built through agreement, it's built through honesty. Even uncomfortable honesty. When someone tells you something you didn't want to hear, and they do it without cruelty, but without flinching, your respect for them goes up immediately, because you know they mean what they say. But when someone always agrees, always accommodates, never pushes back, you stop believing anything they say is fully real. Their compliments feel empty. Their support feels hollow. Their presence feels like a performance. And you can't truly respect a performance. Here's the shift. Honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, builds more trust than 1,000 agreeable moments. Number 5. The moment the dynamic flips. Here's something interesting. Most people who've been too nice for a long time eventually hit a breaking point. They get tired. They pull back. And almost immediately, the people who were ignoring them suddenly start paying attention. You've probably seen this happen. Maybe even experienced it yourself. You stop texting first, and they text first. You stop being so available, and suddenly they're asking where you've been. You stop bending your schedule, and they start adjusting theirs. And your first reaction is probably frustration. Because why now? Why only when I stop caring? Why does it take me pulling away for them to show up? The answer isn't that people are manipulative. The answer is that the signal changed. Before, the signal was, I'm fully available. I'm not going anywhere. There's no risk of losing me. The moment you pulled back, the signal became, this person has a life. This person might not always be here. This person has value beyond just being available to me. And that second signal triggers something real, not game-playing genuine reevaluation. The brain suddenly has a reason to pay attention again. Now here's the thing that most people get wrong at this point. They think the lesson is, pull away to get attention. Create distance deliberately. Make people chase you. But that's missing the point entirely. Because that approach is exhausting and hollow. You can't build anything real on manufactured scarcity. The real lesson is, build a life that creates natural distance. When you have genuine purpose, genuine interests, genuine standards, you naturally become less available. Not as a strategy, as a consequence of being a full person. And that fullness is what people actually respond to. Not the distance itself, but what the distance represents. The truth is, people don't respond to the distance. They respond to what the distance tells them about who you are. And this is where it changes everything. Because we've been talking about what other people do, how they respond, how they perceive, how they treat you. But there's one final piece, and it's the piece that actually sits inside you. Because the real reason being too nice destroys your presence, it has nothing to do with other people. It has everything to do with what you actually believe about yourself. Number 6. The belief underneath the behavior. Everything we've talked about, the endless availability, the saying yes when you mean no, the shrinking, the over-explaining, the apologizing for things that don't need an apology, all of it points to one core belief running quietly in the background. I am not enough as I am. I have to earn my place. That's it. That's the root. When you believe, even subtly, that your natural self isn't quite enough, that you need to add value through service, through agreement, through constant availability, you start to treat yourself like a supporting character in your own life, and people take their cue from you. If you treat yourself like a supporting character, they will too. Not out of malice, just out of instinct. Social dynamics are mirrors. The way you show up tells people how to relate to you. The space you take up, or don't, sets the tone for how much room others give you. Think about it from the other direction. Think about someone you genuinely respect, someone whose presence you feel when they walk into a room. What is it about them? It's not that they're louder. It's not that they're more attractive or more successful necessarily. It's that they seem completely unbothered by whether or not you approve of them. They're not performing. They're not auditioning. They're just there, fully, without apology. That quality has a name. It's called self-possession. And it is, without exaggeration, one of the most compelling things a human being can have. Not arrogance, not coldness, just a settled, quiet certainty that they belong in any room they enter, and they don't need you to confirm it. That's what people respond to. Not the tactics, not the distance, not the mystery, the self-possession. And here's the hard truth, you cannot fake that. People feel it when it's real, and they feel it when it isn't. The only way to have it is to actually do the internal work, to actually examine where the approval seeking comes from, to actually start choosing yourself not as a strategy, but as a practice. The truth is, the moment you stop needing people to validate your presence, your presence becomes something worth noticing. Number 7. What respect actually looks like in practice. So what does this actually look like in real life? Not in theory, in the actual moments where it matters. It looks like pausing before you say yes. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're actually checking in with yourself. Do I want to do this? Does this work for me? And then answering honestly. It looks like letting people sit with your no, not over-explaining it, not following a decline with 15 reasons and 3 apologies. Just, I can't make that work, and leaving space for them to be okay with it. It looks like having opinions, real ones, not the kind that shift the moment someone pushes back. When you have a perspective and someone disagrees, you don't immediately fold. You listen, you consider, but you don't abandon your view just to keep the peace. It looks like being warm without being desperate. You can be genuinely kind, genuinely interested in people, genuinely generous, and still have limits. Those two things are not in conflict. In fact, kindness with limits is far more powerful than kindness without them, because it means something. It's chosen, not automatic. It looks like being comfortable with silence, with not filling every gap, with not rushing to smooth over every moment of tension. Some tension is healthy, some silence is meaningful. You don't have to manage everyone's comfort at the expense of your own. And maybe most importantly, it looks like being interested in your own life, having things that matter to you, having goals that have nothing to do with what anyone thinks of you, having a direction that you're moving in, not because it impresses people, but because it's genuinely yours. When you have that, when your life has its own gravity, people naturally orient toward you, not because you manipulated them into it, because you became someone worth orienting toward. Here's the shift. Respect isn't demanded, and it isn't performed. It's the natural result of a person who has stopped abandoning themselves. Here's what I want you to sit with after this. The people who ignored you when you were bending over backwards for them, they weren't necessarily bad people. They were just responding to the signals you were sending. Signals that said, I don't fully value myself, so you don't have to either. And that's not a comfortable realization, but it's a useful one, because it means the power was never really in their hands. It was always in yours. You don't need to become someone cold. You don't need to start ignoring people, or manufacturing distance, or pretending you don't care. That's not the answer, and honestly, it's just a different version of the same problem. Still performing, still making your behavior about other people. The actual shift is quieter than that. It's internal. It's the moment you decide, genuinely decide, that your presence has value, independent of what anyone does with it. That your time means something even when no one is thanking you for it. That your boundaries are not obstacles to connection, they are the foundation of it. That being truly kind to others starts with being honest with yourself. When that shift happens, and it doesn't happen overnight, it happens in small choices. Day after day, something changes in how you move through the world, in how you speak, in how you hold yourself. And people notice, not because you changed your tactics, but because you changed something real. That's the thing about self-possession. You can't manufacture it, but you can build it, quietly, steadily, one honest moment at a time. If this changed how you see something, even slightly, I'd like to know what shifted for you. Sometimes one sentence hits differently for one person than it does for another. Share yours below. And if this is the kind of content you want more of, stick around. Every video here is built around one goal, helping you understand people, including yourself, a little more clearly. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.